But we're going to get into Class 7A rankings again. Our rankings presented by ScoreStream here tonight on FloydHSFootball.com Gridiron Report. Class 7A preseason rankings. And basically, we're going to go 5 on the bubble here with 7A, Buchholz, Columbia, Wiregrass Ranch, Braden River, and Kathleen. Kathleen, even though 5-5 last year, missed the playoffs. I like Kathleen because their schedule is a little bit tougher. Coach Strickland there at Kathleen. I think they're going to be much more improved. I don't think they're going to get into that slow start like they did last year, because if they did a slow start, that might hinder them a little bit. But Kathleen probably would have made the playoffs last year if we were under this format of the playoff format. So that's basically the thing right there. I mean, Braden River, a few losses. They also ended up losing a player during the offseason due to an ACL injury, so that kind of hurt them a little bit. I think Braden River's just sitting on the outside. I think they're down a little bit, in my opinion. We'll see. They might prove me wrong. Wiregrass Ranch, Mark Cantor, I really like what's going on there. They really proved themselves last year. I think they've got another talented squad coming in this thing. I really think Wiregrass Ranch is going to compete with Plant this year in that district again, in District 7A8 there in the Tampa Bay area. And Columbia, Buchholz.
And Buchholz is becoming a perennial playoff team again. They haven't been in the last 2 years and district champs, and they've been surviving that district with Bartram Trail and Oak Leaf, and just a tough district there as well. And they've been able to find a way through it so far. And Columbia, a team that started slow last year, but really played well at the end of the year to make the playoffs. But their season was ended in a blowout loss to Robert E. Lee, who we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, you see those interesting teams, Wiregrass Ranch and Braden River. We don't talk a lot about them, but those teams have been very consistently winning and on the bubble to start. That's again another good 5 teams on the bubble in 7A.
And here we go with 7A, 6 through 10, 10 sophomore Fort Myers, 9 Viera down there in Brevard County, 8 Dwyer, 7 Lakeland, 6 Tampa Bay Tech. I mean, you talk about teams. I mean, Dwyer, I'm a little bit lower on than probably some people are, because Dwyer did not have a very good showing in the spring game against a Dr. Crop team that I think is on the rise. And I think if Larry Bluestein was listening, he probably would agree with me on that one right there. I mean, especially since, 30-10 is not very good, especially if you're Dwyer, because, Dr. Crop team that has not been there in the mix of things. Now Dr. Crop might be getting back into that hunt of certain things, and they're in Class 8A. But Dwyer, I'm kind of – that's why I'm kind of keeping them a little lower than maybe some people would. But that's the thing. Lakeland, I think Lakeland still got a little bit more to prove. They're kind of on the – in my opinion, they need to show a little bit more. They scheduled tougher this year, which – I've kind of called them out last couple of years. I'm like, in my mind, Lakeland has you can't basically my interns now they're talking to me about this. I see. You're telling me I ranked Tampa Bay Tech over Lakeland. Now, my opinion about Lakeland is
Tampa Bay Tech.
Yeah. My thing about Tampa Bay Tech, I like what the quarterback situation there is. Tampa Bay Tech. My thing with Lakeland right this second is they got the schedule tougher. I'm happy for them to do that. But the second thing, show me you can win those games with that tougher schedule. If you can win those games, you're going to go up in the rankings. Yeah. Don't give me don't prove me. Don't show me that anything on that thing. Will Turner, I see. Will Turner, I'm getting your messages. He's calling me out. I'm. Yeah, this is live. This is live broadcast. This is live. Hey, prove me wrong on the field. Prove me wrong on the field.
Yeah, I mean, you're right about their schedule. I mean, Manatee to open, Apopka, Gibbs, they play Bartow. Yeah, George Jenkins. It's better this year. But, I mean, you still have to – I guess there's still a bit of belief that they're Lakeland, so put them up there, and that's kind of where we are. But a program like Tampa Bay Tech has been a program that's been on the rise too. So, I mean, they're preseason rankings. This is why we talk about them, because they may not turn out to mean anything. But they're fun to talk about at least.
Will Turner, one of my he's a great intern, by the way. Will Turner, appreciate him. He's telling me, hey, he actually likes this silly thing. Yeah, Tampa Bay Tech over Lakeland. Yes, that is happening here, people. That's the thing on that. But let's get into the top 5, because I think people are going to like this top 5. 5 Bartram Trail, 4 Robert E. Lee, 3 Venice, 2 Plant, 1 St. Thomas Aquinas.
Looks pretty similar to last Tuesday. top 5 at the end. But yeah, Aquinas has got to be in the favorite.
Bartram Trail. Some people want to put Bartram over Lee. I'm just like, it's a toss-up, to be honest with y'all people. I mean, it really is a toss-up. Those two teams, either one could be state semifinalistic, in my opinion.
Lee can come back with the success of last year, and O.J. Small.
And they got a lot of the returning players returning, so they've got some of the talent.
I mean, they were that close to beating Plant in Tampa and playing in the state championship game. That was nearly Lee and Aquinas. Now, Lee wouldn't beat them either.
And Lee
couldn't beat them.
Lee has never played, and Lee hasn't played for a state championship in like over 40 years. So
Corky Rogers never got them there when he was there. They came close, but never did.
And that was one of Corky Rogers' biggest regrets, by the way, is never getting Lee to a state championship.
Plenty of that at Bowls. He was close with Lee, but Lee on the rise. They have been. Bartram Trail, though, I mean, that's a program. The thing about Bartram Trail is they have been so consistent. Daryl Sutherland's been the coach for 16 years. I think they made the playoffs every year but one. Last year, we saw it again with them. They lost to Buchholz during the regular season. That's happened 2 years in a row. They come back and beat Buchholz in the playoffs, and they had Lee beat 3.5 minutes, up 13. Lee comes back, and that's 60. Was it 65? It was a crazy score.
Right.
It wasn't quite the 74-73 Clay Bishop Kinney game of 2013, but yeah, it was pretty high scoring. So Lee. Or Bartram Trail, Joey Gatewood, if they make him the quarterback this year, because last year you could kind of see that going at the end of the year.
Bartram's been on a rotational of quarterbacks the last couple of years.
Yeah, and this is the senior year for Joey Gatewood, the Auburn commit, and I really think that they're going to have they're going to probably let him play quarterback. But last year they worked him in at the end of the year more as more quarterback, and they played better. So I think that's what you'll see from them this year. But yeah, Bartram Trail is a team you're going to have to watch, and they always are. But I mean, the top Aquinas, it's just. It's a machine there.
And by the way, speaking of Plant and Venice, Kickoff Classic this week, Will Turner, you can follow him at TBTurner813 on Twitter. That game is a Kickoff Classic this week, Plant and Venice, and that'll be at Dad Stadium on Friday night. So there's Plant and Venice. Those two teams are meeting in the preseason. Don't count, but hey, it's going to be a dogfight no matter what.
It'll be fun to watch.
And St. Thomas Aquinas #1, that is a no-brainer, people.
No, I know, and we might have to be talking about them for the state record. Trinity Christian doesn't win 5 in a row. St. Thomas Aquinas,
St. Thomas, I think, goes for 4 this year.
They're going for 4 this year.
They're going for 4.
It hasn't even been close. That's the thing. That game, that Friday night, it was Thursday night last year.
It was a Friday night.
Sorry, they typically play that 7A game Friday night. It's always the biggest blowout. It seems like Aquinas.
The last few years, because
when they've been playing it. Last year was Plant. I think the year before that was Niceville, who hung in there for a while. And it's just been the Aquinas classification in 7A. Yeah, 2 years ago it was Vieira. They beat 45-10. 2014 it was Osceola 31-0. Last year Plan was 45-10, I think. So yeah, it was it hasn't been close, and you'll wonder if Plant can maybe get back there. But the problem is who can beat Aquinas. Actually, not only are they going for 4 in a row this year, they're going for 5 out of 6 as they also won in 2012. So.
And let's talk real quick about St. Thomas Aquinas here real quick. We're coming up on the 9 o'clock hour East Coast, 8 o'clock Central Time, and if you're Mountain or Pacific, 7-6. 7-6, and 4 for my friend in Alaska, my best friend in Alaska. She's in Alaska for the next 2 weeks. So
5 o'clock, actually.
Well, 5 o'clock. There we go. 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. So
it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
There you go. But let's start. St. Thomas Aquinas, they open the season with St. John Bosco next week. At home, ESPN, that game, and St. John Bosco is #1 in a couple of national rankings. St. Thomas Aquinas, that game is going to be tough for them. And even though it's a home game, it's at Brian Piccolo, that's going to be a tough game for them, especially for a team coming all the way from California. And again, then they go out to Centennial, Arizona later in the season. So they've got St. Thomas Aquinas. They've got the schedule, and they're playing the Broward County teams like they normally do. So Miramar and Deerfield Beach, and they got their little district. But St. Thomas Aquinas, I don't think there's any questions about this one with Class 7A and the rankings there on that one. Finally, last but not least, in the classification rankings,